So in this video, we will take a broad look at the reading comprehension question type, giving an introduction to the question type and then an overview of what's to come in the rest of this section of our website. So some gory details to begin with. There will be 10 reading comprehension questions per verbal section. So that means 50% of the total number of questions. These will be spread throughout several passages. On each test, there will be one long passage, and that means 3 to 5 paragraphs, 4 questions. So there will only be one passage of this length, one passage with 4 questions, usually in the first verbal section is where you'll encounter that. Then there will be 5 or 6 short passages per test, and these will be 1 to 2 paragraphs and then 1 to 3 questions per passage. And then there will be the argument-based passages, which look like short passages, but they're different in terms of their content. They're going to focus on argumentation, logic, reasoning, and these will always be 1 paragraph, 1 question. Now there are a few different question formats. Those will include regular old multiple choice, so you'll have 5 choices and 1 correct answer. And with those, you'll see the oval shape next to the answers. We've also got the check all that apply questions. So on these, when you see the square check boxes, that means 1 of them might be correct, 2 of them might be correct, all 3 of them could be correct. So you have to get the precise combination in order to get credit here, kind of like on the text completion questions where you have to get all of them right in order to get credit, or the sentence equivalence questions where you've got to get both of them right in order to get credit. And then there will also be select in passage questions where you have to select the sentence that does this, that, or the other, whatever is indicated in the question. Okay, another way we can break things down is in terms of the question type. Now, by long and short passages, what we mean here are the ones that are not the argument-based passages. So we can call these the regular passages, but long and short also covers that idea. So specific detail questions, inference questions, function or purpose questions, main idea questions, and vocabulary and context questions. And those cover the majority of the questions you'll encounter, but there will be occasional questions that don't fit into any of these categories. So we'll have a video in which we'll look at a couple of those and sort of talk about how we can generalize strategies that apply to some of these other types in those rare cases in which we do encounter questions that don't fit into these categories. So we'll look at some of those. And then with the argument-based passages, some main types of questions would involve strengthening an argument, weakening an argument, identifying assumptions, identifying sentence roles. And so each one of those question types will be the subject of its own video. Speaking of which, so we'll start with a video on the anatomy of a GRE reading passage in which we talk about the main components that you want to look for in terms of the main idea, supporting points, etc. So how we can break a passage down into its components. Then we'll talk about reading actively, how to approach these passages in an efficient manner in a way that will allow you to extract as much as you can from the passage without taking too much time, things to look for, and basically just things that will help you stay focused and efficient as you work your way through these passages. Then we will look at the long passage type in particular. This is also a longer video because of the amount of content, but we will apply these ideas about reading actively and understanding the anatomy of the passage. We'll apply that to a long passage. And then we'll get into the long and short question type. So each one of these gets its own video: specific detail questions, inference questions, function and purpose questions, main idea questions, vocab and context questions, and then unusual question types where we look at a couple of other examples. And then we'll shift gears and talk about approaching the argument-based passages. And then once again, we will look at the common types of argument-based passage questions, one video per type.